peoples of the worldwide federated internets. What is good? I got a small topic of discussion. Let's get to it. So, all over the world, different countries and different states, you have health experts that have their idea of what we should do in this situation that we're in. And not just this situation, in different situations, these health experts have things that they feel we should do, ways they feel we should attack these situations. This is my thought. And this is something that I've thought about for a long time. And I'm not saying that my thought is 100% correct or accurate. This is just the way I think on this topic. This is not, let me put a disclaimer out. I am not physically shaming anyone for not looking like someone else. And I'm not fat shaming anyone. So I want to make that clear. And I also want to make it clear that just being slim doesn't mean that you're fit, and it doesn't mean that you're healthy. There's a lot of slim people who are unhealthy. But I've noticed a lot of these health experts in different states and in different countries and different governments, a lot of them, when you from a physical standpoint, now I could be wrong, I could just be judging a book by its cover and be completely wrong, but from a physical standpoint, some of these people do not look healthy. I take issue with that. I take huge issue with that, especially in this area. So I'll give you an example of how I carry this out in my own life. I just moved. Where I used to live, I had a doctor. Now, when I was searching for a doctor, I pay attention to, I guess, what most people would consider the minutia of life, the small little details that most people gloss over. When I was looking for a doctor, I was looking at where they went to school. I was looking at the different places they worked, if I could find that, and any information I could find surrounding their work. And I looked at their pictures, if I could find a picture of them. I want to see what you look like. This is just me. So I found a doctor. When I met the gentleman who became my doctor, I was like, all right, this dude looks like he takes care of himself. I'm not saying he was a physical Adonis, and I'm not saying he was some world-class bodybuilder or physique model. He just gave the appearance that he took care of himself, that he cared about his own self. And here's my problem. When we see all these different health experts, how am I to believe that you have my best interest in mind and that you are going to have the best interest of everybody else in mind if you don't even physically take care of yourself, seemingly? Again, I'm not physically shaming anyone. These are just my thoughts. It matters, and it really does matter. And I have a scenario for you, and this is why it matters. So the job I previously had, I traveled. And with that traveling job, you had to get, a physical, a yearly physical. Now I do that anyway, but you had to get a yearly physical. So often when I go get physicals, my blood pressure spiked, and I attributed that to just being nervous, right? Because every time I go to get a physical, my blood pressure always spikes. No, it never fails. It doesn't matter what I do. Okay. So I finally said to myself, you know what? Let me go to my physician and look into this, lest there be a problem that I'm not paying attention to and I'm just diagnosing myself, not knowing that I actually have a problem. After all, high blood pressure is called a silent killer. So I went to my physician, and lo and behold, when they checked my blood pressure, it was a little high. And this is what he said. He said, "All right, you look like a relatively healthy person. I know you work out. So we're not going to jump to conclusions and jump to throwing medication at the situation, because there's things that you can do naturally to lower your blood pressure. There's things you could eat, things you can incorporate into your diet, and things you can cut out as much as possible. So this is what I want you to do. Keep working out like you're doing. Do these things here, here, and here. Measure your blood pressure throughout the day, different times. I think it was like for 2 weeks, 14 days, and then come back and we'll revisit this issue and see how we approach from here." Okay, bet. So I go off. I check my blood pressure random times, and it was good every time. There was certain, like maybe once or twice where it was slightly elevated, but I knew what I could attribute that to at that moment when it was elevated. So that didn't necessarily concern me, but it was fairly nominal to even low every time I checked it. Okay, so I go back into his office. He checks it. It's good. He said, "All right, looking at your chart, looking at, the recordings you have, coupled with what we just recorded, I'm gonna say you're good, man. I'm gonna tell you," and this is what he said. He said there's a psychological thing that we call white coat syndrome. A lot of people get nervous when they enter hospitals or doctor's offices, and more than likely, that's what happens to you. You get nervous, your blood pressure spikes. It happens. He said, but looking at these numbers and looking at the numbers we recorded when you came in, and I think he took my blood pressure again when he walked into the office just to make sure. He was like, "You're good, man. You're good. You take care of yourself, blah, blah, blah." We had a little conversation. What's the difference? Now, some doctors would have immediately jumped to medication, because this doctor took care of himself. He took the same care in his patients. How could you trust someone to take care of you who doesn't take care of themselves? Now, maybe I'm wrong in my line of thinking, and if I am wrong, I am more than willing and welcome to anyone challenging this thought. But this is my thought. How foolish would it be to go to a car mechanic that couldn't fix his own car? Be dumb, right? It'd be really stupid. How stupid would it be, in my opinion, to go to a construction company and the guys working construction couldn't even do simple repairs in their own homes? You wouldn't trust them. You'd be like, "I'm not going to you. You can't even fix your own stuff." That's how I see physicians. I don't want a physician who doesn't take care of themselves physically taking care of me. And a lot of these health officials, I got my questions. Not gonna lie to you, I got my questions. And again, this is not fat shaming. This is not physically shaming anyone. This is just being honest. And I'm not using that term, just being honest, as an excuse to attack someone. I'm saying, logically thinking, if you don't take care of yourself, how am I to think you're going to take care of me? Why should I trust what you're saying? If you're the expert on health and what you have to say is so important, shouldn't you be taking your own advice? Shouldn't you be at a minimum nominally healthy? I'm just saying, man. Maybe I'm off base in my thinking. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody has, something that would challenge my line of thinking, but I don't think I'm wrong in this. I personally don't think it's wise to trust any health official that doesn't, at a minimum, take care of themselves physically. Just my thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you have something to challenge my thought, and I'm willing to accept the fact that I'm wrong on this issue if I am. But that's my thoughts. Stay frosty, people.